The issue around the North Shore wastewater treatment plant has been raised lately in a few different ways, but certainly has been raised by my conservative counterpart, Mr. Curran, including in a column in the North Shore News, or a paid ad in the North Shore News, where he discusses the federal government's abrupt withdrawal of additional support for the North Shore wastewater treatment plant. I just want to set the record straight. The North Shore wastewater treatment plant was something that actually lacked any federal funding under Prime Minister Harper. And in fact, in 2015, I campaigned on getting the federal government to pay its share, a third of the capital costs associated with the plant. And in the first Liberal budget, after I was elected in 2015, in the 2016 budget, the federal government came through with a third of the capital costs. It was the largest single investment in that budget. It was certainly something that was welcomed by Metro Vancouver. It was certainly something that was welcomed by the province of British Columbia. Of course, North Shore residents are very much aware of some of the challenges that happened after that. As you will know, the federal government provides capital. We do not do project management of infrastructure projects. We do not do overall engineering design. In fact, we do not have the expertise to do that. We provide capital, and the municipalities actually do the engineering work, hire the contractor, and manage the overall project and ensure that it is delivered on budget. Metro Vancouver hired Acciona, which is a Spanish contractor, and there were many, many challenges that they encountered before Acciona was eventually fired. In the course of that, the costs escalated from about $750 million to $4 billion. That is a tragedy, and that is something that, to be honest, Metro Vancouver needs to do some hard thinking about how that happens, such that it does not happen again with respect to future infrastructure projects. But I would say that Canadians generally, and certainly folks on the North Shore, will be well aware that the federal government cannot be in a position where it pays for cost overruns that are the responsibility of the municipalities for projects of infrastructure across the country. That would mean not just wastewater treatment, but roads and a range of other things. In Ottawa, in Halifax, in Edmonton, it would be many, many, many billions of dollars over which the federal government has zero control. As a taxpayer in this country, that's not a situation that you would want. And to be honest with you, I find it quite shocking that Mr. Curran would seemingly want the federal government to be in a position where it could not manage its own budget. The challenge here, obviously, is that the costs are being dumped on the North Shore residents. That's a decision of Metro Vancouver. Rather than spread the costs equally across people across Metro Vancouver, they have decided on a formula that would penalize those of us who live on the North Shore. And in that regard, I support the work of the mayors on the North Shore in pushing back on that. And I think candidates from all political parties would support the mayors in pushing back on that. It is important for us to be telling Metro Vancouver that this is simply not fair. But honestly, I mean, Conservative candidates who have been in this riding, including the former Conservative MP, have debated on a range of issues on the basis of the way in which we think about these issues, but they have always tried to actually ensure that we are using facts. That is not what Mr. Curran is doing, and honestly, I find that enormously disappointing. At the end of the day, let's have good conversations. Let's debate our differences of perspective, but let's use the facts.